Welcome back to the podcast you always needed. I am your host, Sean Heshmatpour, also known as Sheshan on the internet. And today we are here with a very, very special guest, Marc Longwith, a good friend of mine who was actually one of my first coaches in this space, mostly for business coaching in the beginning, but then over time, a lot of personal coaching, a lot of coaching around inner work, masculinity, and just being able to combine that inner world with the practical application of business, my lifestyle, and all that. And we became really close friends ever since. So, Marc, welcome on in, brother. Introduce yourself to the guys and to those listening to the episode.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you having me. It's an honor to be here. Gentlemen, I appreciate you taking your time. Roy, Marshall, Eric, Luke, Joseph, appreciate you being here, guys. Fox is on now. Welcome, Fox. So I'll just give you a quick, I'm not going to take too much time with this. I'll make it quick. So I got in the coaching space from the food and beverage space. I was in food and beverage, five-star, five-diamond Michelin star in Vegas for years. I owned a brew pub in downtown Las Vegas. I transferred over to coaching, started coaching Michelin star chefs going into corporate because I knew that space. That wound up in some weird way coaching a pitcher from the Dodgers, some high level $100 million CEOs in San Diego. I opened up a company called Energetic Alignment Academy, which is where Sean and I met. And basically, I was teaching holistic practitioners and coaches how to build online businesses using workshops. We built that to seven figures plus. I sunsetted that in 24 and focused primarily on working with founders, becoming the bottleneck in their business. So something I want to share with the audience as well is if you're making like literally like $1,000 a year, or you're making $100 million a year, you're still the bottleneck in your business. It doesn't change. And so people think like, oh, these guys are these big guys. Like I worked with a guy who is the biggest bottleneck I've ever seen, and he was worth 1.2 billion. So it doesn't mean you can't make money if you're the bottleneck, but you can't go to that next level. And I think the other piece is even if you do make all the money, are you doing it in a way that's in alignment with who you are, what lifestyle you want, what your soul wants? Because money is important. I like money. Who doesn't like money, right? But it is not the only metric. I can promise you. It is a piece of the pie. And it's not even as big of a piece of the pie as you think. They've done all kinds of research on this. I would say it's 20% of the pie, but it's important. Yeah. So that's what I do. I own a company called Evolved Entrepreneur. For profit, I work with founders in transition, founders that are the bottleneck in their business. For nonprofit, I work with JSOC and SOCOM operators rotating back. So that's SEALs, Green Berets, Delta, Special Forces, Special Operations for Air Force. It doesn't matter. Any branch, Marine Raiders. So those guys come through. They're coming to transfer back to civilian life. And every quarter I take on an operator and I help them rotate back. And then I'm on social. I have a podcast as well. And yeah, I think that's it, Sean, right? I mean, I could talk about fighting professional MMA and all that shit, but that was a long time ago. I'm getting old.
Yeah, well, one thing that I'm curious about that I would love for you to elaborate with the audience. And, I got some talking points here that we discussed, and this will be a good segue. So for right now, for what you do, what do you help the men and the women who come to you who are the bottlenecks of their business? What sort of issues do they come to you with? And what is it that you really help them out on their journey? And I also know you're doing a challenge right now too, if you want to even make some references to that. Because it'll be really helpful for the guys here as well who are on different levels of their game for business and their lifestyle.
It's really crazy because it really all comes back to the interpersonal interdevelopment work, right? Like the personal development work. Like it's about alignment. Like I would say the number one keyword would be cognitive dissonance. I want this, but I'm not doing that. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I see. Like, oh, I working with a guy right now. He has 27 businesses. Um, and he's like, yeah, man, like I can't get people to do what I tell them to do. I can't make good hires. I can't do this. The guy just doesn't like people, like admittedly so. So he can't build a team underneath him. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, guys. That's not his zone of genius. He's built businesses. I mean, the guy crushes millions and millions of dollars. But you have to kind of know, like, well, I can't do this. How is that relating back to me? And so I know it sounds corny, and you guys hear it all the time, extreme ownership, radical responsibility, but that's really what it comes down to. And saying, okay, if something is going wrong, how am I contributing to that? I don't care if it's everyone else's fault. Well, how am I contributing to everyone else's fault? And a big thing too, like we just talked about it yesterday. Two women that work for him, 10 years deep, none of them get their jobs done, but he doesn't want to fire them, right? These are little things like, we're all having humans and we care about people. So I think the real reality is do, does my intention, right? Like what I want to do, does it match what I'm placing my attention on? I think that's the biggest thing are my intentions matching my actions? And that's what I see the most. And I think that when you're all just starting out, because I think some of you are, you think it changes and it doesn't. It's crazy how it actually sometimes even compounds. So it's really the work that I do is getting them clear. So like the challenge is a great example. Meditation daily, journal daily, mirror work daily, right? Dancing, because your high vibration is huge. If y'all don't dance and sing 5 minutes a day, you're missing out on life. I promise you that right now. Right. And then movement. Like how many of you guys in here get depressed or sad or just angry, and then you go hit the gym for 45 minutes and you're like, oh, I'm fine. We're just humans, right? We got to
Huge. Yeah.
process, dude. It's huge. Your physiology is so important. And so I think the reality is like understanding that we are all physiological beings. The neurocognition is the same in all of us. We have just asshole brains. It's just the truth. And you're really just learning to manage yourself as an operating system. And it's very surprising to see high level guys that are special operators. I've worked with NBA, MLB, UFC guys, or billionaires that it's crazy to see how their brains are the bottleneck in their life, even though they've gotten a ton of results in those one areas. So I hope that kind of prefaces a bit.
Oh, that was such a beautiful breakdown here, brother. And one thing that really came to mind right now, which I know is something we talk about a lot on our own phone calls together, is how there's such a disillusionment. Disillusionment, is that a word? Yeah, disillusionment.
Disillusionment, maybe.
Disillusionment.
We're gonna call it. It's all good. We can make up
Yeah.
shades. We got
There's a disillusion. There's a disillusion that once you get to this high level place, whatever that may be, right? Whether it's playing baseball, right, at a high level for the Dodgers, like you said, or being a CEO of a company, or even just making 20 to 40, 50K a year, right? Some of these ambitious goals that we just place on ourselves, we believe that that is just going to solve everything. And from what you're showing us right over here in this call and what we're talking about right now is that's really not the case if you do not have your own internal development checked and you're working on it on a daily basis.
it's it's the exact opposite, actually. And I'll give you a great example. If anybody in here is really good at video games and you just play video games 4 or 6 hours a day and you crush after a year, right? Look at how much effort and time you put into that video game. You're going to get great. And guess what? The other things around you are not going to flourish, right? So it's a balance of everything. So when you look at guys that are really good at making money, we have this societal idea that, oh, they have this money, so they're elevated. They're really good at that one thing. If you spent 4 to 6 hours focusing on just making money every day, like you do playing video games, or like you do going to the gym, or like you do just watching YouTube videos, you would get really good at that one thing. But that doesn't mean your life is in order. And I think that's what people miss the most is, and then here's the other thing. How much are you sacrificing? So if I can give anybody any wisdom on this podcast or anybody wisdom on this call, is the juice worth the squeeze? And the juice will change every decade. If not, if you're really into personal development, it'll change every year of your life. And so you got to ask yourself, like I traveled the world for a very long time and it is not worth it anymore. I want to go on one vacation a year. Fuck that. I need to be stable, focused, and building. So understand that's your only question in life ever. Is the ROI of this effort worth what I'm putting in? I think that's the big thing. And the only reason why I'm bringing that up to just rewind is so many of these founders I work with, their families are disasters. Their internal operating system is a mess. They have anxiety. They have fear. Listen, I would rather make, I use the word two, or the word, I use the number 250K. And here's why. If you make 5 grand a week, it doesn't make it matter if you make 5 million a week. Besides status, it doesn't change. You can live anywhere in the world. You can go to any vacation you want. If you're doing what you love and you make 250K a year, you're pretty much can do whatever you want. So my point is, if you're trying to make all this money, you're suffering. I'm not the biggest fan of Scott Galloway, but he does say some wise stuff. Professor Scott Galloway. He sold all of his businesses, had a couple hundred million. He's like, I'm going to become a billionaire. He's probably in his 40s at that time or late 30s. And then he sat for a week and thought about it. He goes, wait, what am I doing? He goes, I'm going to work another 20 years to be in my 60s, right? To make this number. My life doesn't change at all. I just hit a goal. And how much of those years would be wasted? Y'all are young in here. I mean, I'm almost 50. And it's like, you enjoy your life. Like Alex Hormozy always says, he's like, I would give up everything I have to be 10 years younger. So there's that.
How would you? This is such a great breakdown, by the way. I looked up the number for this the other day, and I'm pretty sure in order to be in the top 1% bracket in the US, it's only 750K per year.
It's exactly 750K a
Okay,
year.
so I got it right. Yeah,
Yep.
750K a year in order to be in the top 1%. And people think they have to be millionaires in order to have the financial freedom that they desire. Now, there's nothing
I,
wrong, by the way, for you guys listening. There's nothing wrong with wanting to become a millionaire, but that's where the why comes in, and the why must be so important. I know that's a huge thing I talk about with the guys on the call. Also, in some of the learning modules, I make references to it as well. I would like some of your thoughts on that, Mark. Like
I mean, I'll
how
just
how do you
go ahead.
know? I
Go ahead.
guess once if like your why is coming from a healthy place or not, and then two, how can you build up on that why for your business and for your lifestyle without it turning into this detrimental anxiety fest where you're just dreading the entire process?
I think this is a really challenging question to answer. And the reason why is because I've noticed sometimes you have to collapse a little bit. You have to go through some really hard times to see what's important to you. Because the reality is, you don't really have opinions of your own until you get a certain age. You start doing reflection work. You start saying, okay, like y'all that grew up in this era, I mean, you have got Alex Hormozy, Andrew Tate, whoever you follow, just shoving their information down your throat. And so you're absorbing all this. And if you agree with them and you actually agree, that's great. It's like, but do you? You wouldn't know any better. If you grow up in Saudi Arabia, you're going to be a Muslim. If you grow up in Italy near the Vatican, you're going to be a Catholic. So the reality is taking enough space, and no entrepreneur wants to hear this, taking enough space to slow down, do the reflection, do the inner work, and be like, what do I actually want? And bro, I'm 47 years old and I still jump online and see dudes with Lambos and yachts and shit. And by the way, I lived a lot of that life and I'm like, oh, this is so fucking cool. And it's designed to extract that masculine, like, I want to be alpha. I want that shit. That's dope. But if you just slow down for 2 seconds, and I also have had the luxury, and maybe y'all need to do this, of experiencing a lot of that, right? So I mean, sometimes you need to experience it, right? Sometimes you need to date the wrong girls to know they're not right. Sometimes you need to go out and make 50K a month and buy a Lambo and to realize, like, I mean, even Alex Hormozy said, and I quote him because he's a pretty grounded person. I don't love everything he does, but he's pretty grounded. He's like, I bought this. I think he bought a Phantom or a Ghost, and he had it for like a week, and he's like, I don't want this thing. It just didn't do anything for him. And when I look at the guys that really have money, that really understand business, Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, these guys don't give a shit about any of that. So I think it's really just understanding what matters to you. What's your background? Roy is obviously Asian, right? So I've dealt with a lot of Asian clients, and they have this very strong built-in conditioning to take care of their families and their parents. And so if that's important to you, and that means more to you than riding around in a Lambo flashing $100 bills, and that's what's going to give you a why. So you really have to dig into that piece. And I think the only way to do it, and I hate to tell you guys this, is to go through hard shit, slow down enough and pay attention to the voices in your head, journal it, talk to yourself in the mirror, And continue in that same process of slowing down, the paradox is going out there and taking action every day to do shit. Because here's the other reality, and you know this, Sean, you just don't know sometimes. The thing that leads to the thing will lead to the thing. You just got to go out there and start doing things. And at the same time, not get too scattered, right? This whole game is a paradox, and it's a really challenging paradox.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I love these yeah, I love like these big picture concepts that you always bring into our conversations, Mark. And guys, Mark is really good at this as well. Like when he'll see me being stuck in my head or pissed off about something, he's always able just to show me the big picture. And when I see it from the big picture, guys, like it really eases the level of importance down back to my levels so I can actually start thinking clearly towards my goals in my future and what it is that I'm working towards.
We're so short-sighted, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, this
100%.
was in the 90s, y'all. It said, there was an article and it said the average college student in the 90s, by the way, y'all are probably born in the 90s. So the average college student lives a more luxurious life than John D. Rockefeller. Think about that. And that's a fact.
Wow.
Indoor plumbing, AC. I live in Colombia. Okay. I get to see like super high levels of wealth because of the neighborhoods and stuff I live in. And then you go 10 miles that way, and the average person's making, they make 1.6 million a month. So that's about 400 bucks. That's minimum wage, 400 bucks a month, you know? And yeah, sure, things are cheaper here, but they're not that much cheaper, $100 a week. So you really get to see like how blessed you are. And you say top 1%, Sean, but like, I mean, who doesn't have food to eat today, right? Who doesn't have a roof over their head? I mean, some people
Yeah.
don't, but most people do. Most people have the opportunities. I mean, they're endless now. Like there's even like there's no excuse. You can code by talking to a machine and sitting down with Claude and vibing. Like, I mean, bro, we're so blessed. It's crazy.
No, that's 100%. That's 100% right there. And I think a lot of times for guys who are new to entrepreneurship or even like just in the depths of entrepreneurship, 5, 6 years in, they don't realize how blessed they are. And the thing that they once loved turns into a process of just pure pain just to check things off their to-do list. And what would you say to guys like that, who like they love their craft, but at the same time, it's like they know that they're fueling their entire craft by stress and burnout and
I think they're
pressure.
addicted to suffering.
Mm,
Personally, I think they have low
yes.
self worth. I don't think they really believe in themselves, and I think they need to suffer to feel good. I mean, not to keep bringing it up, but Alex Ramosi just did the podcast with Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins looks at Alex and goes, "Fuck your suffering, bro." And Alex legitimately was like, I mean, you could see he looked up to Tony. You could see he was a little timid. Alex is not usually timid.
Yeah.
And he just was like, he's like, bro, what are you doing with your life? And Alex cannot attach to joy in his own admittance on the podcast. So he said, oh, so if I can't attach to joy, I will suffer because I'll be valuable. That sounds like a self worth issue to me, and a big one. So now you
Yeah.
got this guy who's completely fucked up inside, in my opinion, in that regard, that one regard. In many other areas, love the stuff the guy does, and preaching to all of us on how to be. Shut up, grind harder. Nobody cares. These are tweets of his, bro. Your life sounds miserable. And so I think it's really understanding, like, what are you trying to get out of this life? I can tell you, once you hit 30 or 40, your life starts to fly by, right? There's no big milestones anymore. It's like, I got my license. Oh, I graduated college. Oh, I can drink. Like, it doesn't work that way. And so you really realize, like, what's important. And what's important is this right here: community, mentors you trust, people below you you get to mentor, just connection. And by the way, I know how confident I come off. I know how much charisma I have, but you can ask Sean. We've been working together for this last 3 months, just kind of, or 2 months, just really working on building some stuff. I have broken down. I have had moments of despair. I have been depressed. I'm like, fuck this. Like, I'm human. We're all human. I think what the difference between somebody like me and somebody who doesn't have the skills is it takes them months, years to get back on the horse, or they sit in those spaces. And I express it you know? And then I just go out and the next day I'm like, I'm good. Like that's a skill. That's a skill,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And that is such a huge reason why brotherhood is so important. Because you got to let it out. You got to, like, you can't just sit with it on your own. You have to let it out around people that you trust so they can bounce off ideas with you, so they can hold space for you, so they can guide you, whatever it is that you need in that moment. You've been saying this a lot to me lately as I've been putting myself back out here in New Hampshire. Like, we are wired for community, we're wired for connection.
I mean, I was even thinking about how you over the last month have been like, Mark, this is what you would tell me right now. Because I'm all like in this low vibe, right? And I was thinking, like, listen, I mean, I want if y'all are looking to be entrepreneurs and make money, like make it get as much fucking money as you guys can. But don't forget that this community you're in right now, a mentor like Sean, who genuinely from his heart cares about each and every one of you because he talks about you guys to me, like understand how precious that is. And that's what matters. And then get some real connection. You know what I mean? Like get a real girl and just cuddle, get a real bro and just give him a hug and go out and like actually do something. No matter how much AI, porn, girlfriends, robots, uh, online spaces, like we're literally, you cannot change our DNA yet. 10 years from now, maybe we'll be these crazy hybrid cyborgs. Cool. But right now, like you need these things. And I tell Sean this all the time. I'm like, you cannot take a house plant, and we're all house plants here, and throw it in the closet in a basement and go, why isn't it fucking growing? No, it's dying, dude. It needs water, it needs love, it needs food, it needs sunlight. Like you are the same way. And so when Sean gets low vibe, I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm not sleeping. Oh, well, okay. Are you hanging out with, well, I need to go hang out and co-work a little bit. Oh, like, bro, so I do this assessment called the logos assessment. My friend created it and we're creating AI around it now. When you start to see what you need, you specifically just you go, oh shit, like this is what I need every day and I feel full. And I tell people, if you get fed your indicators, right? Like, cause there's different archetypes. Your world could burn down around you and you're like, man, I'm cool. You don't get fed like Sean was having trouble, medically and things like that. And you're not, and you could be making 15, 20 grand a month and it doesn't matter. And you're just miserable. You need to be fed, y'all. Feed yourselves the love from yourself and people around you, the food, the exercise, all those things, because it's just so important. And then when your world starts burning down, and let me tell you, it's not a matter of if you're entrepreneurs, it's a matter of when, um, you'll have the
Yes.
courage to stick it out. Everybody wants to talk about the Romans and burn the boats, and I want to be the hero. And it's like, do you understand what the fuck that meant? Because those dudes went through hard times. And so it's like we all want to be the hero, but we don't want to go through the journey. And so all I'm sharing with you is you're going to walk that journey, dude. Make sure you're built to walk that journey by feeding yourself.
100%. Well said. Like, that was, I could see the facial expressions too for some of the guys here. I mean, like, that is just what so many guys who are building right now need to hear. I've said this to some of the guys in here before on the coaching calls. I brought up in my podcast, but for those of you listening right now who may have not heard me talk about this, like a couple years ago, year and a half ago in Arizona, like I'd be making 12, 15K months, and I was just bloated on the fucking couch watching Harry Potter, listening to fucking people having fun partying by the pool right in my complex. It really showed me that money doesn't mean shit. I'd rather be happy and build in a way now that's more methodical, that's more strategic, that's more going to feed into my lifestyle and my desires instead of me feeding this thing that's outside of me, and it just sucks the energy out of me because of that. And it took me getting a chronic illness to really figure that out at a more embodied level.
That's your collapse, Sean.
Yeah.
Like everyone goes through theirs. It's a breakup, they lose a parent, they get sick. And when you collapse, you start to go, oh, what's really important? And I'll tell you this right now. I think you should consume specific social medias that fulfill you and lighten you up. But in general, social is the devil. Like you're just being conditioned with all the stuff that's not you. Who are you? sit by yourself alone. Like, who am I? What do I want? What do I like? This isn't you, y'all. It's all of us. This is from the president to Grant Cardone to all everybody. We're all conditioned. So
Yeah. And it only takes being by yourself, journaling, meditating, observing your mind for you to be able to realize what is truly mine and what was forced upon me that I just took on by society, by social media, especially by all of it.
it's a great statement too, Sean. I even ask myself sometimes, and this is more energetically, but it makes sense what you just said is this mine or is this somebody else's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge common one. You have to get up at 6, 7 a.m., 4 a.m. every day, you know? Like, I've thought about this and I've swung back and forth between early mornings and sleeping in. Now I've found like a nice middle ground for myself with how I structure my day. But I came to the conclusion about a month or two ago of me just telling myself, I see absolutely no value in my life, at least, to wake up early until I have a wife and kids and they have to go to school and all that shit. Then it makes sense. But like for me, I can log in on the computer whenever the fuck I want. I hop on my calls whenever I schedule them. It's just like I don't there's no desire there. There's no desire to do that. So might as well give to myself, take care of my body, sleep in a little bit more, and just get the work done when I need to. Um, that's
You know
just
who's
one
got some
example out of many, by the way. But
you know who's got some really good wisdom on that too, Sean?
who's that?
Is Chris Bumstead, C-Bum, the Olympian. He's like, bro, I get up when I want, I go to the gym when I feel like it. I don't put too much pressure on myself. And he's a world champion. Like, how many times has he won the Olympia? Like six or something like that. And you realize, like, as long as you do it, as long as you get the work done, and as long as your life feels aligned, you're getting enough sleep, you're eating. I don't think you should put pressure on yourself to be something that fits inside of a box. Like
100%.
you're not Andrew Tate, you're not Chris Bumstead, you're not me, you're not Sean, you're you. What works for you? And don't be lazy, get your shit done. But at the same time, like doing it, there's people that I know that just they work really, really well late in the hours of night, So
Yeah. How does I'm going to shift gears here, but it does definitely help with what we're just talking about. How would you coach a client to be gentle with their self while embracing the process of what they're building? What does that look like to you? What does that feel like to you? And it's going to look different for each and every single person on this call and for those listening to the episode. So, for those of you guys listening to Mark's answer, I want you guys to also have that in mind as you hear him out here. But like, how would you describe that, Mark? Because it's one of those things that one really has to feel over and over and over again until it becomes a normal part of their day to day.
yeah, I'll give you a couple of things. It's a really great question too, because so I'm writing a book and it's going to be about the dichotomy of everything or the paradox. And so this is a paradox, right? But I think I would look at it this way. If you had a child and whatever you relate to more, if it was a little girl or a little boy, like whichever one you're going to be the most gentle with, probably a little girl, right? Because we are just softer to women. And you hold this little girl or this little boy to a standard. And you say, this is the standard you need to meet. And they're constantly working to that standard. But are you going to be like mean to them and smack them and beat them around and talk shit to them? No, you're going to encourage and be like, hey, I'm so proud of you. And when they don't hit the standard, you're going to be like, hey, like we fell short a little bit. Let's get back on that. Now, if you start going down this path where you're just honestly not getting your shit done, I think it's okay to sit down and like, yo, come on, bro, get your shit done. I think you can be harsh with yourself, but day to day, be gentle and loving and kind with yourself. And I tell people all this all the time. When a baby goes to walk, right, and it's crawling and it stands up and it falls, you reward and praise the baby because it's trying to walk. You don't go, oh, you fucking stupid baby, and kick it because it fell down. Or could you imagine? Right? And the baby receives the serotonin encouragement. This is all neurological. And then the baby gets all smart. Okay, I'm going to try again. Imagine if every time that baby fell, you yelled at it. You think it's going to get up and try to not crawl? Dude, you're doing that to yourself every day. Like, be gentle with yourself and look at yourself in bigger timelines. I used to manage, I was a sommelier, which is a wine expert. We worked in really big restaurants, I mean, $40 million a year restaurants. And the servers would complain days. They would have like, oh, I made $200 today, or I made $300 today. I'm just like, dude, calculate your tips at the end of the month, look at the average, and then decide if you're going to complain or not. Because every day, if you're just judging one day, you're going to be up, down, up, down, up, down. Like, look at your life on a timeline. And a thing that I do, if you want some wisdom on this, is at the end of the day, I write down 3 wins no matter what. And then I write down, and sometimes a win for me is I got to have this frozen yogurt here in Colombia I love called Persimmon. It's so good, right? Like that's a win, whatever it is. And then I write the 3 top things I'm going to do the next day. And here's another thing, y'all. And Sean and I were talking about this. Those 3 things the next day and the next day, they might start piling on each other. If y'all want to be successful, this is at least a decade, if not multiple decade game. You will never, ever, ever get rid of your to-do list. Never. So just relax and chop away at it piece by piece, and then learn to grow and start delegating it out, and then learn to grow and start building leaders. But you cannot be like, oh, this isn't done, I suck. If you're really doing things the right way, your to-do list should never get done, ever. And so I'm just trying to show you timelines, because I think timelines and perspective is what gives you peace and easier to love yourself.
100%, man. 100%. It's like living in the day to day will only create more chaos internally, because the day to day is filled with chaos. Even if you have everything planned, interruptions happen. Something could break in your house, and then now that's like half a day off of your business. Are you going to beat yourself up for it? I know that used to be me, by the way. That used to be me when I was living in Worcester in the first half of Arizona. Whenever something would mess up that would take me away from my business, I would be so tough on myself. And I'm like, this is just stupid. Things will
I
get done
agree.
eventually.
Another thing too is we talked about how tough money stress is. And I like to over leverage. So I put myself in a lot of money stress. And so what I would say too is, enjoy your life because it matters right now, but get to 1 million liquid as quick as possible, even 500,000. Invest that, and just know, no matter what, I've got 50 to 100K. Just I'm not gonna not eat. I'm not gonna not have a place to live. And then just build from there, because having that little nest egg, that little security really helps. But I will now I'm gonna play the exact opposite paradox. I have to share this. Buying a Lambo or a BMW M or whatever it is that you want at 27 feels way different than 40. So I tell people too, do that shit when you're young. Because when you're 40 and you got 2 kids, you got a mate, you're not going to care. It's not going to matter. It's, oh, cool, whatever. Do these things when you're younger. I lived a extremely extravagant life from a very young age because I grew up in Vegas. I was in nightlife. I was out all the time with the people, partying, drugs, girls, all the things. But I did all of the things, all of them, times 10. And now I would see guys come into Vegas my age now, divorced, 2 kids, a grandkid, never had any fun. And they're these dudes in their 50s, like out of shape, losing their mind. You don't want to be that guy. Like they're disasters, probably gonna have a heart attack. So enjoy your life as well when you're younger. And again, this is the paradox of life. And you can't put everything, and this is the issue I have with some of the masculine coaches that are so like, this is the box. Bullshit, man. We are so fluid. Like it's so fluid. You got to give yourself space to do both.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. And everyone's journey is different. Like, I see so many tweets online for the masculine coaches. By age 30, you should have this, this, and that, and this. And it's like, fuck off. That's not real self improvement. That's just people wanting to put stuff out there for likes and attention, which is a whole nother
Do you know the category of
top.
millionaires, Sean?
The
Like
category?
when become the timeline?
No.
It's 47 to 55. Like that's when men become millionaires. You I'm just going to be blunt on the podcast. Pussy doesn't have as big as a draw, so you're not distracted all the time. You've gained some wisdom. You've learned. All of you guys are so young. I tell Sean is 15 years younger than me, right? So my point is like, give yourself some grace, give yourself some time. There are guys. I have guys down here in Colombia that are 29 years old, making 150K a month profit, but that is not the norm. And I'm not saying don't do that, and you can't do that. But if you don't do that, this guy doesn't live a different life than you do. Probably works harder than you, and he has not as much fun. But my point is like, there's no race here, right? And there's a beautiful book called Die with Zero, and it's knowing when to do what with what. Like, oh, I'm going to go to Aspen and ski when I get a chance. And then you go when you're 65 and your knees are all bad. Like, no, go when you're 25. I'm going to give my daughter all this millions of dollars I save for her when I die. Cool. She's 65 and doesn't need it. You should have given it to her when she first got married, when she bought her first house, and just understanding and understanding something too, man. Like, I do want to share this. I know it's a little off subject, Sean, but I know you're going to vibe with this.
Yeah.
I know a lot of these guys. Like, I know Wes Watson personally, had dinner with him a couple times. I know Alex Jeffers. I know these dudes, and trust me, they're just regular ass dudes like you. They got really good at marketing. They're no different. And most of them, they don't have their shit together. So I give you permission to not have your shit together and figure it out, because there's no adults in this world, y'all. There's people further ahead in certain areas, but everybody's just figuring out. So don't count yourself out. And when you see these guys, you're like, how the fuck is this guy this wealthy? Like, he can't even keep his shit together. But he's really good at doing something in particular, whatever that is. So,
Ah.
sorry, I just went off on a
No, I
crazy
love it.
tangent.
It's just a lot to digest, but I absolutely fucking love it. It's just like so many people take this self-improvement game and life, and especially their business, way too fucking seriously. Way too fucking seriously. It's all here for play. It's all here for you to just learn, throw shit against the wall, figure things out. And you can do that while you're broke, and you can do that while you're rich.
You called me out on that last week. And so I have now on my sticky note joy and curiosity,
Yeah.
service,
Service.
service, joy, and curiosity.
Yes. Being in a state
Yeah.
of service, that's a huge one. That's one that we talk about here a lot on the group calls, because that is ultimately what attracts. People are not attracted to what's in your bank account or how ripped you are or what car you drive. Sure, they might be a little intrigued if they can see the wealth if you're wearing it. But at the end of the day, people are attracted to those who are joyful, chill, calm, in a state of service to others. Masculine, feminine dynamic right here. The woman doesn't want a man that's like needy and just needs her more than she needs him. She's gonna be attracted to the guy who's at service, calm, on the date, giving good vibes just for the sake of giving good vibes, not so we can get some sort of vibe from her in return. It's the same thing with sales as well. It's the same thing with marketing. If you're out there and you're creating your content and you're doing what you got to do consistently, and you're not getting maybe the likes that you want, the comments that you want, the sales calls that you want, it's not so much about, oh, I'm not good enough or, oh, this sucks. It's the question should shift into, how can I communicate this a bit differently? How can I communicate my services in a way that lands better? What rooms do I need to network in? Even if they're digital rooms online, what rooms do I got to be in? Because now your mind is shifting to the love of the game and curiosity for the game and being able to show your expertise and where you're at, instead of hiding because you're not getting what you want. Because anytime you avoid and hide when you're not getting what you want, one, you're putting your self-worth on the line there. You're taking it too seriously. And you're not truly being in a state of service. You're being in a state of, I need this. I need people. And that's exactly what repels people away from you.
Well, and to just add to that, let's fast forward to I've got 100K cash just in my bank right now, right? I think everyone can admit that that's a decent amount of cash. They can feel slightly comfortable. And I've got 6, 7 girls hitting me up weekly. When you're in that level of abundance, how do you think you're going to show up?
You're not going to give a shit.
You're going to give a shit.
Gonna,
You're going to be super chill. That client comes in you don't like. You're like, I got money. I don't want to deal with you. That girl comes in, you're not into her. You're like, I got 6 other ones. So the reality is that same energy. And by the way, this is not easy, guys. I get it. And I've had to do this for the last 2 years of my life have been chaos. Um, but your job is to still try to recreate that energy as best as you can in those places. Because, like, if your circumstances constantly decide how you feel, right? And by the way, I'm not an expert at this. I actually suck at it often. um, your life is a roller coaster. And I think that people have this idea like, you think you know what pressure is? Imagine being NVIDIA. Do you know what that CEO has gone through? Imagine being Steve Jobs. I mean, we're talking about y'all are worrying about like, oh, am I going to make a little sales, or is this girl going to talk to me? We're talking about like, if this company fails, it might affect the entire world economy and crush countries. Like, or I might lose 20,000 employees that I do care about. They have jobs. And so just do your, because I think people have this illusion that like, oh, I'm going to get like, look at Brian Mark, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's making what, probably 12 to 15 a year now. And, he's crushing it. And dude, you think like, oh, this guy's living a life. He is a train wreck right now. And he's a train wreck because there's so much more pressure. So I think it's just really understanding that like you've got to just carry that joyfulness for just guys, no reason. Why are you happy?
Yes.
Absolutely no fucking because I'm breathing. So, and you're talking to somebody who defaults to an angry, grumpy person the moment I wake up. Like it's just my nature. So I really realized like, oh, like why can't I be happy today? I mean, even if you're like your rent's due, and your bills are late, and if you really look at your actual circumstance, nothing's changed. Just be happy.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to get more shit done? Being happy and joyful and like let's go, or being like miserable, laying in your bed and crying? You know what I mean? So I think that that's a big key, and it's not easy. What is so funny? I feel like I've said this for years, but Dan Coe's made a big deal out of it. He says it's not easy. It's simple, not easy. That's his new thing. He says all the time.
Yes. Yes. It's very simple, but it's not easy because we've been conditioned to go back to the default, which is negativity, which is
Yeah,
beating ourselves up, which is pressure, added stress, unnecessary stress. I'll even add.
yeah, and I think too, just we've been conditioned to literally not believe in ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we're just literally taught to not believe in ourselves. We don't have any good models. I mean, most of our parents were not super successful like we want to be. Most of our parents are probably not the best at what they did. And so you really have to build your model. All you're doing is building the human being that can do all the things you want to do. But to become that person, you have to go through all the hard things to get there. And at the end, the person comes out and you're like, oh, that's the person I wanted to build. And all of that suffering created that. And also all that joy. So
Yes.
you're like a car factory. You're just building a human.
I tweeted this yesterday, and I actually want to read it here on the show. Society trains you to hold in your farts, but doesn't train you to make your own decisions. You are taught to raise your hand and ask permission to take a piss before even being asked, "What do you want?" Shit's kind of fucked up, but I laugh thinking about it.
Wow. And that
That's
goes back to society's desire to perform.
yes,
We are all performative. Dude, Colombia, and I live in Medellin specifically, is one of the most performative places I've ever been. The women are stunningly beautiful, and they're taught if they're not, they have no value. And so everybody's here to perform and look good on the surface. And that's a very challenging thing internally. So,
100%,
yeah.
100%. Cool. I feel like we've covered a lot of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any more questions on my end. Anything else that you want to share or say, Mark? Because I'm really loving this right now. But is there anything else like that you want to say or drill the point to some of the guys who are here listening on Zoom or
It's going to sound like cliche and you've already heard it, but I just went through a pretty rough 2 years. So I had to remind myself of this. And I have a faith in God, whether you do or you don't. I have a faith in something greater than yourself, universe, your higher consciousness. And it's sometimes shit just gets really hard and all you can do is survive. That's it. I just got to endure this for a period of time, but I promise you it will change. And when it does change, this is my opinion. It doesn't mean it's true. I feel like the exact opposite will happen. And then it's almost like, Matthew McConaughey said it in Green Lights in his book. He's like, it's like running downhill, don't trip. Like I went through a period of time where no matter what I did, it felt like I was just not going to win. And now I'm entering a stage in my life where it's like, no matter what I do, I can't help but win. And understand that that's just life. It's just what it is. And you go through those phases, and some are dark and you have to just endure them. And some are just like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening to me. And then some are dark again. And so just give yourself grace. And I think what really makes a man is his ability to endure the dark times. And yeah, I would love for everybody, like, yeah, I endured all the dark times. I was happy the whole time I was joking. Bullshit. Just get through it, dude. Just get through it, get to the other side, learn from it, and realize that, like, I mean, sometimes it's super dark and that's okay. But the light will come through. Here's the difference though. Or not even, you just won't ever know when it's going to come through. And that uncertainty is fucking terrible.
Yeah. And
Welcome
I'll
to
add to that
entrepreneurship.
real quick. I'll add to that real quick as someone who's coming out of 3 years with chronic health issues and just kind of rediscovering myself in the process of building. It's not just like one drastic miracle that changes your life and changes everything. And I think a lot of times people have this misconception if they're going through a dark phase that it's just like, oh, once I meet that dream partner, once I have that good 10K month, once the business starts making money, whatever it could be, everything will be magical and perfect. It's like, nope, you're going to notice the changes little by little, just like building your own physique, just like anything else in life. The good stuff is going to come in little by little by little. It's not just going to be one drastic, amazing, beautiful change overnight. It comes in gradually. So it could even be happening in your life right now if you're going through a season of struggle, but you just may not be noticing it because your attention, your mind is so focused on the bad.
It's crazy how you can go through not months, not days, hours, where in 1 hour to the next, you can be like, vroom, vroom.
Yeah.
And it's literally just the way you're thinking.
Yes. That's all it
It's all it
is.
is. It's just the way you're thinking. And it's learning to manage that monkey mind of ours. Meditation, prayer, chill, mirror talk, good
Journaling.
mentorship, good friends,
Yeah.
journaling, and also just having good people around you. We're designed to play. Humans are designed to play and create, just so you know. So
100%.
yeah,
100%.
creation machines, man. That's what we are.
And the more we just own that we're here to create, the less pressure we put on ourselves. And the less pressure we put on ourselves, the more it naturally comes through authentically as ourselves.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. How are you feeling, Mark? You ready for some Q&A?
Let's do it.
Cool. Before we get to the Q&A, do you actually just want to let some of the guys know what you are currently building right now and where people can find you online?
Yeah, I mean, my Instagram is the most active place. It's Mark Anthony Longwith. Super simple, Mark with a C. And then my website is evolvedentrepreneur.co, not .com. And right now I'm building a community with, I'm not even doing the community side yet. That'll be part of the challenge, but I'm building a challenge. I'm finishing up one this next week. We'll run another one in April. And it's a 30-day. And I have phenomenal subject matter experts coming in about somatic healing, about culture and community, and about identity shifting. And so it's just a 30-day challenge with the journaling, movement, dance, meditation, all those things. So that's what I'm doing. If you honestly, guys, if you want to get a hold of me and you actually like want to get a hold of me, just fucking text me on the DM. I will respond to everybody in here. Anybody that listens, I prefer that. I prefer people, and it also shows me who has the courage just to reach out and be like, "Hey, what's up?" So just reach out, man. And that's it's social networking, as Sean likes to call it. So
That's what it originally was before social
totally,
media. It was called a social network.
I agree.
Yeah. Beautiful. All righty, let's get to some Q&A, guys. So, yeah, anyone can just kind of jump in. We don't really have to go any specific order. Just have your hand raised. And yeah, so it looks like we got Joe up first. So, what's going on, Joe? Good to see you, brother.
Hello, hello. I just wanted to give thanks to Mark and Sean for hosting this, and everyone showing up. Obviously, it's a Friday morning, or at least in the U.S. So yeah, I just want to give a shout out to everyone here. I'll start off with a very light question. I have a couple of them, but I want to give time for everyone. But pretty much, I've been dealing with a lot of burnout recently, so I guess my simple question is, A, how do you deal with taking time whenever you're burned out, right? Sometimes I want to overwork or like work through the burnout, but sometimes it's better to just, take a step back. But in taking a step back, when do you know that, okay, I've taken time off, but now I'm hiding behind taking time off and now I'm procrastinating.
The eternal question, right? All of us. Joe, do me a favor. Just give me a little context on your life. Girlfriend, no girlfriend, married, kids, job, what
Yeah,
entrepreneurship?
so I'm 27, unmarried, single. I'm working on my business. I'm an entrepreneur, with digital marketing. Um, and so I guess the past year, I really started my business. I've made a couple pivots, and now I am focusing on my digital marketing. And so I really went crazy last year, and I had to take a step back, I guess, at the start of this year because of how hard I was pushing. And I tried to like artificially start off the year with a bang or whatever. So I started working really hard in November, and now at the beginning of February, I was really starting to feel the burnout because I never really like took the time to like sit with my wins or sit with like myself.
Yeah, I would say a couple things. One is, and this is just a personal thing, you guys do not have to agree with me. It's going to go against every coach that you've ever talked to. I don't like working hard December to March because I think it's an area of time when we actually need to recover and rejuvenate and rest because I think our bodies work in seasons. I'm not saying you can't, it's just my opinion. But what I would say is you have to honor your body and you know when your body needs it, what it needs. And so right now you need space. So I would create some space for yourself. But the reality is, it's not so much when you're ready to get back on the horse, Joe. It's what were you not doing to keep you on the horse and stay rejuvenated? So when I talk to Sean all the time, it's the same thing. It's like, are you getting workouts in? Are you eating properly? Are you getting love and attention from people in your life? Are you doing here's another thing that's really important. Have you learned yet in your business to make a list of all the things you love to do and all the things you hate to do? And you should be as fast as you can delegating that to an AI bot, delegating that to a VA, delegating that to somebody. And I'm not saying you can do it all today. That's going to take the next 5 years probably. It's actually going to be forever ongoing. But if you are doing the things that aren't in your zone of genius, they will suck the life out of you. I don't care who you are. If Steve Jobs was building microchips, he would have never built Microsoft. That's just not, or wouldn't have built Apple because that's not what he's good at. So I think the real question here is going back, what does Joe need to be energized daily? And what does Joe need to get rid of that he is just overwhelmed by doing because it sucks the life? And then what are the things that just make you like, I fucking love what I'm doing. Let's go. That's what I would say you need to figure out.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sean, did
So
you? Oh, there you go.
no, I think you pretty much answered. I was just waiting to see if anything would come through for me to offer to Joe, but yeah, you said it pretty well right there. One thing I will add, and actually I want Mark's opinion on this too, something I want to add for Joe here and for anyone listening about this specific topic of what to get rid of and what not to get rid of. Just make sure what you get rid of is not a necessary part of the process in order for you to succeed. And if that means talking to like three, four, five, six other entrepreneurs in the space to learn more about their process and how they're doing things, for you to just have that trust within yourself of like, okay, this is what I need to get rid of, or okay, I need to learn how to lead into this and get good at this skill of the process myself before I delegate it off to someone, then do that. You know what? But I'm hearing a little bit of not saying you don't trust yourself completely, Joe, by the way, but like I'm hearing a little bit of like a lack of self-trust in a way, in a sense, when you're asking, how can I get back? How do I know when it's time for me to get back to work? Right? Like you will feel it in you as well. So it's like for me, for example, I'll just give you an example here from my day to day with some of the burnout that I've experienced and the health issues. I know now, I used to fight this. Like, I know now that I need 2 hours in the morning for myself and 2 hours around lunchtime. I used to fight that for so fucking long because I thought that that was wrong, or I would hear other people in the space say that takes too much time, but I need that for my body. And since I honored that, that gives me a lot of space for myself to sit and think and create ideas that I can bring back into my business. Now, as far as how to know when to like take time off, for me, it's like now whenever I just feel stressed, like while I'm creating content, for example, if stress is coming out for me, I will just leave this room that I'm sitting in right now. I'll just fucking leave the room. I'll go on a walk outside. I'll put on my coat. I'll bring the dog out with me. I'll sit with my journal. And I genuinely just wait for the more creative ideas to come through. Or I just genuinely wait for that ambition to come back alive. And I spend time with my mind, not chasing for an answer, but just becoming aware of what is coming up internally within me when I am taking a space from my work. And it's almost like naturally, as I become more aware of that, I naturally am able to come back to my business when there's inspiration rising back up internally.
That's beautiful wisdom, Sean. And I also just want to leave Joe with this because I think a lot of these guys need tangibles on this one
Yes.
is make a list of everything you love to do and lights you up and everything you don't love to do and look how you can delegate that stuff up, right? Do some sort of assessment. You can hit me up. I have a phenomenal one and really start to understand who Joe is. You need to know your
Mm,
enneagrams, your attachment styles, your astrology, whatever you're into. You need to know how your operating system works and then start thinking about what elevates you. Is it sex? Do you need a girlfriend? Is it gym? Do you need to hit the gym? Do I do jujitsu? Like you got to understand those are your three components, and then the rest will fall in place. I promise.
beautiful. Beautiful. All righty. Any other questions, Joe? Are you good?
I'll pass it around. I have a couple of questions, but I want other people to get their questions in.
All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. All righty. Thank you for the question. That was a really good one, Joe. Roy, the floor is yours, brother.
Hey, Mark, I've enjoyed your time here and the wisdom that you've shared, especially as someone who's older than us. Always love to hear the life experience. I got a couple of questions. I'll start with more of the practical ones. So, when you scaled things in your businesses, whether it's like the restaurant or the workshops, so two questions here. First one is, what was great about operating at that scale, like the level it demanded of you? And then the second part is, what wasn't so great about operating at that scale?
I'm trying to think of examples of so what's not so great about operating at that level is that things break a lot more. So you kind of have this mom pop business that's figured out, you're making a couple hundred grand a year, everything's really simple, and you say, okay, I want to grow. And so you have to become an expert problem solver. And so you have to develop enough grit to understand that everything beyond that point, consultant or not, you're going to hit these bottlenecks and these breaks, and you have to learn to manage them. And so you're just taking on way more challenges. An easy example is this. If I say I'm going to work with 5 clients a year, each client's going to pay me 50 grand, that's 250K. I got a little bit of social media, I got some referrals. My life is pretty chill besides working with clients. If you say, okay, I want to start making 250K a month or even 50K a month or whatever it is you want to make, you say, okay, I have to implement these systems. All of those systems are about breaking and testing and breaking and testing. It's especially if you guys are in the online space. An easy example is ads. And so you're always testing against the mean. You're always trying to see what's going to break and when it's going to break and then how you can stop it from breaking. That's the one side, that's system sides. Then you have the other side of I'm building now people, right? So this person, I build them up, they quit, I need to get a new person. So you're just constantly becoming this problem solver, and it takes a lot of time and effort. And then you have to build people that can become the person that you were so you can go step back to the next level. So it's continuous. And the best way I can describe it is when you own a brew pub, you make all of this money and you save and you get investment so you can upgrade all of your tanks, right? And you can produce more beer. To do that, you have to take out money. You got to do all these things, and then you redo the business. You take out all this, and then it expands, and then you make all of this money again. You take all of that money in, solve that problem, and then expand again. And so it's like the fisherman story, if you've never heard it, but it's like, where do you really want to be? Because you're constantly going to be breaking and solving and breaking and solving. And if you're not okay with that, and you want to live a more chill life, it's not for you. I can promise you that. And it's just okay to make a couple $100,000 a year. What I love about it is building people that can do things that they never thought they could do. It is the coolest fucking thing to take somebody in who's like, oh, I don't know, you really trust me with this? And you're like, and you see something in that, and then you build them into that spot, and then they run with that thing, and you're like, holy shit, that was pretty cool. That person's rocking. That's awesome. So those are the two things that, you know, that I feel like with scaling, because scaling is a very interesting thing. It's a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm. Also, really cool to get some insight into that because it's not a world that I've dived into and really know like what it looks and feels like. Um, and now the bigger question, like higher, spiritual, whatever, uh, two part. What's your why? What drives you?
My why?
Yeah.
I have this unreasonable desire to just help people. I can't explain it. My ex even told me, she's like, you are literally the best man I've ever met in my life. Like, I would even say it's almost selfish because it brings me joy, right? Like, just to watch people succeed, to watch people have epiphanies, to help people who have less than. And, it's interesting because I can't even say it's altruistic, it's selfish. Like, I genuinely just love to help people and making them feel comfortable and safe. Like, it's just my knack. And when I see somebody feel comfortable and safe, and because I grew up really fucked up and I never felt safe. And I think that maybe it's even a trauma response of just like, I don't want people to feel the way I felt. And I think a lot of success are trauma responses, personally. There's a great guy on the internet. He was talking with Chris Williamson, and he said, if you're a truly successful parent, your kids will be happy with mediocrity. And that was really hard to hit. But if you think about it, they're just at peace and at joy. And all these things we want to accomplish, sometimes they come from these deep places in our heart. A lot of times they come from us trying to be enough. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And then the last question is, if you got a download from God, higher self, spirit, whatever you kind of call it, and that download said, tomorrow, Mark, or no, today, I want you to know everything that you've been doing. You have to drop it and go in a completely different direction. Would you do that?
1000%. But let me give you this caveat. I'd be very mindful of where that was coming from. Was that my own ego? Was that influence with that? But I feel like I have a really deep connection with my higher power. And number two, I wouldn't have done that until probably this last year. And the only reason why I would now is because I got broken down so fucking hard and in so much pain and suffering and sadness that I had no choice but to connect to my higher power because I couldn't do it on my own. So now, because I lean on God, it's crazy how I'm being supported. So when this motherfucker, and I know I talk like crazy to God because I talk to him that way. When this motherfucker tells me to do something, I'm like, all right, let's do it, whatever you want. And but it took me 'll be 47 in May. It took me 47 years to get that lesson. So, but today now I would do whatever the fuck I'm told, which is crazy to be that obedient and surrendered from somebody who has this alpha entrepreneurial mindset. Let me tell you, I think that's why God had to break me down so hard. He's like, you're not going to listen. I'm going to break you the fuck down till you're so weak that you have no choice but to lean on me. And it sucked, bro. It was terrible. I wish it on nobody.
Thanks for sharing, Mark.
Of course.
Those are some great questions, Roy. Thank you.
Totally. Really good.
Cool. Fox, the floor is yours, my man.
Hey there. Thanks very much, Mark. I appreciate you today. I'd like to ask you a little bit about you talk about delegation. And I kind of wonder, have you always been like a solopreneur? Do you just, outsource where you can? Have you ever worked on a team? I've gone through a bit of a phase where I've wound down a whole lot of stuff that I used to do. I used to head a fairly large organization. I had about 70 volunteers working with me, and it was a lot of fun, great thing. It was really aligned with what I want to do with my life at the time. That's done now. I'm moving on to something else. I'm trying to start something a little more profitable for myself. The trouble I run into is I feel like I have to do everything myself. I don't want to do that. I kind of miss working with a team of 70 people because, I have all these different people. Each of them have their own sets of talents, different things I can put each of them in charge of. But it's been really hard to find that. I got very, very lucky the first time around, and I didn't realize how hard it was going to be the next time. So I feel like I'm stuck between either being the stereotypical, just do everything yourself, grind until you're dead entrepreneur, like everybody kind of LARPs online. I don't really want to do that though, but I don't know how I can work with people unless, I've just got sitting on a ton of cash and I can just hire people. Work with, I'd have 100,000 bucks to pay a salary every single year. I don't have that much money. I've got a runway, but I know other people who have the mindset of entrepreneurs. People I've talked with here. I moved recently, and I know a bunch of people that are really excited to know me because they know I like to do things. They all want to get on some business themselves. The trouble is, like, as much as I'd like to do that, we start discussing, okay, what value exchanges can we do here? What experience do you have? What talents have you built? And usually it's nothing, and not really a drive to much either. I don't want to be super judgmental or anything, but like I can't work with that either. How do you find people that you can work with or want to collaborate with or you can build something with? I'm not asking to work with people like for free. I just want to find other people with the same mindset that are somewhere between I don't even know what my major is going to be and oh yeah, I'm making, $5 million a year in my business.
Yeah, I think it's a two-part question. I think one of it is you're in a phase where you can't hire first-class talent. And so there will be things you are just going to have to do on your own until you can
Hmm.
get to that point. So your main goal should be, say, if I want, like, you have a couple options. One is, say you want to hire first-class talent. You have to grind till you can make enough money to do that, right? And in the meantime, that's what the word grind means. You got to kind of suck it up,
Hmm.
and that's challenging. But the flip side of that is when that time comes, right, is your ability to be slow to hire and quick to fire. And so I'll give you an example. When I opened the brew pub, I interviewed 400 people to hire eight. So I would say, what's your output or input, however you want to put that. So the reality is you are correct, especially in today's day and age. We're limited on talent. Human capital is the highest leverage of play we can use, but it's just not there as much. So what I would do if I was you is I would be doing my best to try to keep networking and meeting as many people that are like-minded as possible. I would keep grinding and trying to delegate as much as I could to AI as long as it was mutually equitable, because some AI stuff is garbage. And then when that time comes, I would really take my time to vet. Now, on the emotional, spiritual side, you got to get over that idea that you can do it. But there's guys that can do what you're doing 10 times better than you, and they're out there and want to. And if you have the mindset like everybody sucks, and I'm talking about myself right now, all these people
Hmm.
fucking suck. I think that all the time. And then you stop and go, wait a minute, that's not going to get me where I want to go. If I think every girl sucks, like I'm not going to find a wife, right? If I think that every guy sucks, I'm not going to find boys. So I
Hmm.
think that would be your biggest job right now is to build yourself into a person that can not only afford what you want to do, but will attract what you want. So create an attractive business. That's another thing because company
Hmm.
culture is so important. Be somebody that everybody wants to be around. they're drawn to you. So I hope that answers your question. But right now, you are kind of in a bit of a exploratory grind phase, and that's okay. But just
Hmm.
know just like I had told, I forget who it was earlier, but just to Joe, to make those lists, you guys. If your life is perfect and you're sitting on a $5 million nest egg and you're just thinking, what would you do every day in your business? And if it's sipping on Mai Tais, you're in the wrong business. You're not an entrepreneur. Um, and then everything else, just slowly figure out how to delegate and get rid of that methodically and slowly. And also understand this is an ongoing, never-ending process. Just like you have a funnel for business clients, you will have a funnel for people, right? For
Makes
workers, for
sense.
HR. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, and it will probably have way more turnover than your clients because that's how many people come into a job, they leave a job, HR hires them, fires
Yeah,
them,
trust me, I
corporate.
know.
Yeah. So,
Freaking
so yeah,
sucks.
yeah, but that's the wisdom I have for you right now is
Mm.
become the most attractive version of yourself, network as much as possible, save your money, and then bring people in or partner with people that have skills you don't and have fun with it.
I am up for that. Is there is there anything you can advise specifically about like the mid-tier talent? Maybe I'm just totally wrong, but it feels like there's just such a massive gap. Like there is the billionaires and there's college students. It's like a desert in between. Just what it seems like. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think I agree with you to a degree. I wouldn't say there's a difference between the billionaires and the college students. Like that's a huge gap. But I would say that in the
Hmm.
marketplace, it is rare. I mean, we're talking rare. Like you have to really vet and take your time and get lucky enough to be like, oh wow, that person is a gem. But it's just like finding a wife, bro. It's
Hmm.
just like finding a really good friend. They are rare. So accept that reality and also accept the fact that no one's going to do it maybe like the way you do it. And that's okay too, you know?
That's fine. Have you
So
ever found ways that you discover talents in people? Like, have you, is that something that you think is a good use of time, or is that over investing to try, this guy is diligent, no idea what he's good at. Let's see if we can pull something out of it. Let's see if he's got something he hasn't figured out.
I think if you have the space and time, it's always beautiful to curate potential. But I would give you the trap in that, and that is, did they want to curate their own potential?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I
I'll
know
tell you
what you
this: if
mean.
you're looking for anything, one trait before we move on to Eric, one trait is this: look for people who are hungry, because
Hmm.
anything can be taught. Look for people who are hungry,
I'm gonna do that. Okay.
and guess what? Good luck. I'm not being a dick. They're just going to be more rare. Most people aren't hungry. They talk a big game. Bro, I've had dudes pay me $5,000 a month and not even show up to a single meeting. Like people talk about being hungry, they're not. So that's
Yeah.
why everybody in this room, if you want to be entrepreneurs, it's 1 to 3% of the U.S. population. So
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
you're welcome, sir. Thank you. What's up, Eric? Talk to me.
Hello, Mark. Great to meet you. Just this, I have so many questions that I'm trying to like filter through the most load-bearing columns, I suppose I would say. Um, well, the one I would ask about regards to like your fighting actually, like
Sure.
because I've had the only sports that really interest me are combat sports,
Mhm.
and because it's like you get beat at a basketball game and it's like, well, I could still kick your ass, like that Joe Rogan type beat. Um,
Totally.
and uh, I haven't been able to like I got my junior black belt like as a kid in Taekwondo, and I've been like dipping back into martial arts when I can, but like right now it's like more of a money concern and like a time thing, like figuring out schedule. So right now I've got a personal trainer. I've been working with her, just like getting strong because like that's another thing I enjoy weightlifting. And right now I'm working on like cutting, like losing to see like get to that 10% level of body fat. Like I don't want to go any further than into like single digits because that's just like diminishing returns at that point. Um, so I bring all that up to say like how do you get that security in your own physical power to know like I can handle myself?
I would say it's just time, to be dead honest with you. And I would say also getting a few altercations doesn't hurt. I don't recommend that.
Right, yeah.
But if you really want to test yourself, like I would say is, first of all, if you just get on the mat every day for 6 months, a year, not every day, 3 days a week is fine. You're going to have a different level of confidence. One of your buddies is going to fuck with you and you're going to throw him in a choke like, oh, wow, that was easier than I thought. But I would say is test yourself, you know, like, for example, there's one thing, a jiu-jitsu match is not a fight. That's a match. But there's things called smokers, which are Muay Thai, boxing. Um, and you can get amateur level pads, gloves, shin guards, and you can just go out there and just go for it. And it's going to be scary, be very scary. But I think it'll press up against everything inside of you that's afraid, because everybody's afraid. Every time I stepped in the cage, I was afraid. Um, and I think it's just something that men need to do, and we don't do enough of it. I don't think getting a couple boxing gloves with a few of your buddies and fucker, it's different, man. Like, train for 6 months, step into a Muay Thai ring, get your ass kicked or kick somebody's ass. And then if you like it, do it a few more times. And I always recommend you do something at least more than once, 2 or 3 times, to get a vibe of it, you know? But that confidence it only comes through experiencing that. You have to get in there. You have to get beat up every day. You have to, and then eventually you will gain that. And it's just like the reps in the gym. You'll feel strong when you become strong.
Yeah.
And you'll still have self-doubt. Dude, I was a monster when I was a kid, dude. I was fighting professional MMA by the time I was 23. I was jacked at 19, 205 pounds lean. Still doubted myself all the time. It's human nature. But at some point, your evidence will overweigh your brain. So, but I highly recommend everybody in here get involved in some sort of combat sports, because I think it's so important for a man to be able to take care of himself and the people he cares about.
Yeah. Actually, that's a great answer, because it leads into my next question, which is like building that evidence and trusting that evidence. Because like my journey, like, whenever I first got out of high school, I wanted to be a nurse. And then COVID happened, and then God was telling me, like, I failed out of the nursing program, and that was like God telling me, like, no, I don't want you to be a nurse. And then I thought, like, okay, well, what am I going to do next? Engineering sounds like it'll be a good job. So I do 4 years of my life, I do that. I think like, oh, I'm more compatible with this. It's more men. I'm not surrounded by a bunch of women. And it still and like toward the end of it, God's was like, you didn't listen again. And like, but I'm still going to put you with these men that I need you to be in contact with. And then I started getting into like the online space with like Nicholas Cole. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's like a big ghostwriter, and like right now he's getting into more like commercial fiction writing. And that was just kind of when I got reacquainted with, I think, my first love, which was writing. And it's like trying to be an entrepreneur and trying to be a writer is like you're going for like a double dose of humility, I think.
I mean, you're playing on hard mode.
Yeah, and it's like I do it to myself, but I can't see myself doing anything else. And
maybe that's what you needed.
Yeah, and that's the fucked up part, because it's like it feels like I've pivoted so many times, and it's like, and I doubt that, like, okay, what's gonna stick? Like how do I, because I'm like, humans are made to play and create. And it's like, okay, well, like, how long until this craps out again? Because I know I can be stubborn. I pushed through that. And it's like, I guess
Can I slow you down for a second?
Yeah.
I'm curious what your actual question is.
Yeah, I was trying to get to that. My question is, how do you like get that trust in your own worth and not be so dependent on, who reads this thing or who's going to like this thing. Like, how do you trust in your own self-worth and that like you have something to teach and something to offer and just keep doing it? Because I know you just have to keep doing it.
I think there's twofold to that question. One is simply the reality that if this brings you joy, you have to surrender to the reality that it may never help anybody. It may never get the result you want. I know that's crazy, but I'm just being honest. I have a friend of mine, Keenan, that wrote a book, and he's very spiritual. He had to surrender to the reality that this might not be received by anybody, but this is what my heart wants to produce. I said create and play. I never said validation and recognition. Right. so
Sure.
so then the flip side of that is if you want people, the goal is you can do whatever you want, Eric. But if you want to make money, you have to do what the people want. So that's a decision you just have to make. But the reality is the evidence will show you what people want. If 2 years from now nobody wants to listen to us and they all want to listen to fake AI influencers, it's fucking what it is. You better start making fake AI influencers. But that has nothing to do with your ability to create from your heart and express what serves you. So just understand that those are two different things. Now we all hope, like not everybody's going to become a Banksy. Banksy might not have become a Banksy, but he did, right? So you create your art and you pray that it's received, but it may not be received in this lifetime. How many artists die and then 20, 30, 100 years later they become popular?
Gatsby.
So do your best to create from your heart for yourself. And then if that's not producing because people aren't validating you and you want to make money, then you have to honor the market. And it just is what it is, dude. They decide, not you.
Right. Okay. Last question. Going into that, because I think that's a good one to answer. You have your why of like wanting to help people to the point where it's selfish, and that's fascinating to me because it's like how well, I mean, it's natural for you. How do you like if you don't care what other people want, if you want to satisfy yourself, how do you make that serving others, if that makes any sense at all?
Yeah, I think you just be super selfish and you're all about the money. And I'm just being honest. And then you create something that people want to pay for that serves them. Is it serving people? Like I am not recommending this, by the way. I'm just giving you an idea of an analogy. Is it serving somebody to do like, okay, so Andrew Tate made all of his money on OnlyFans. That's a fact. Okay. Maybe it wasn't OnlyFans, but different. And then he put that into crypto. So he was selfish, said, I want to make money. This is low hanging fruit. I'm going to pimp these girls out and I'm going to sell it off. He was feeding the need of somebody else. So he met the market demand. So when you look at this is very simple economics. Meet the market demand. I'm not recommending you do that at all. I think it's fucked up. I think anytime you exploit somebody, that's terrible. But the reality is he was selfish. He wanted to get his wins, and he utilized what the market was, the lowest hanging fruit: sex, drugs, alcohol. Right? Pretty easy. We're humans, right? Yeah. And he utilized that as an avenue or a channel to make money. So if you don't have that inner desire, but you do say, I want to make some motherfucking money for myself, then you're actually in a way easier path than anybody else on this call. Look at what the market demands and just go do it. And look at the most amount of money. I'll give you an easiest example. Do you want to sell Honda Civics or do you want to sell G6s? Right? If I sell a G6, I'm going to get a much bigger commission than a Honda Civic. So just take it from an economics perspective, forget the spiritual stuff and do it. That's what I would say, because that's the vehicle.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that. Sure. Thank you. I may be
looking at pimping out girls on OnlyFans. Not good.
Yeah, no. You were talking about messaging, just like Instagram DMs, like.
Yeah, just drop a DM, man.
All right,
I'm in there.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
I'll respond to everybody.
So I just want to quickly add right here, because Eric, you and I have been working together for a little over a year now. You're definitely not the type of guy to pimp out hoes on fucking OnlyFans or start selling drugs or getting to the cigarette industry or whatever. Like, that is not your character from what I know of you so far. You know, maybe it is. Maybe that's what it all comes down to. But
yeah, no.
Don't count them out, Sean. Don't count them out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I will say,
all I'm
saying
is life next year. I can see it.
Find the vehicle is all I'm saying, man.
Eric's villain arc right over here.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say,
limousine.
But I will say it can be one and the same. Helping people is selfish in a good
Exactly.
way. Being selfish isn't bad. You want to lean into what is selfish. We all have this inherent feeling within us of what feels good and what doesn't. Giving someone a compliment and seeing them smile. That's a very basic level. It makes you happy when you see them smile. That's selfish. It's okay. Selflessness and selfishness are one on the same side of the coin. So if you can lean into what feels good to you and also have the intention to serve with that vision in mind of like, oh, this is going to make me feel good when this person receives this and they're going to be able to do that. You've already won. You can still be moral in your own morals, I should say, and also still make money and become rich in the process.
Absolutely. It's all selfish because people are selfish. They want your service because they're selfish. Everybody on this
100%.
call is selfish. They want my wisdom, Sean's wisdom, whatever.
100%. And
It's
I'm selfish
completely
for
okay.
inviting Marc on here too.
That's it.
So I want the content, So and
100%.
that's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Totally, dude. Yeah, I agree. Anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question, real quick. Appreciate the call, by the way. Good to see you, Sean.
What's up, Marshall?
Yeah, what's up? But so I just had a question about some advice that you would give for somebody in the season of life that I find myself in right now. So to give you a little bit of context, I can relate to Sean a lot with like what chronic health issues he's been through. So I've had stuff like that and just, like family issues, financial things. So I find myself to be like stuck a lot of the time where like I can't get to like those levels yet, despite like the effort that I put in when it comes to anything, whether it's money or dating. But yeah, I kind of had like a late start on all this stuff because I partied in my early 20s. I'm about to be 30 this year. So I just kind of feel like a little bit behind, I guess. And like like you mentioned, like you lived a very extravagant life and everything. And I just, it by default puts me in like that comparison trap a little bit where I'm like, oh, like what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I get that or whatever, despite the effort. So I don't want to think like this because, I know that there's plenty of, opportunity there, but that's where I find myself in right now.
I mean, I think the first thing I would do is be gentle with yourself. I'm dead
Hmm.
serious. I know that sounds cliche, but it's
Right.
super important. And number two is when I talk about myself having an extravagant life,
Hmm.
I partied till I was 40. Like I didn't start to
Hmm.
calm down until I was 40. So even though
Hmm.
I'd opened a brew pub and done a few things, I never really took my entrepreneurial journey off until I was 40.
Right.
So I'm 10 years behind you.
Hmm.
And starting over again at 45, 46 after over leveraging, losing everything and having to start over again. So that's one thing. Be gentle with yourself. Comparison is good if it inspires you. It's not good if it brings you down. Right.
Right.
And then what I would say as well is I would look at the singular focus. Right. And so the singular focus for you is what? Do you need to grow? Do you need better relationship with your family or do you need money? Right.
Hmm.
Look at all those things. Is it your health? Like Sean had to slow down and focus on his health. So I think for you, what is my singular focus in this thing right now that if this change, like what would change your life right now? If I put 20 grand in your bank account, would that change your life? If I helped your health problems, like like I'm asking you, Marshall, what would change your life
Yeah.
today?
Well, kind of like what Sean mentioned when he was making like 14K a month, but he was still dealing with those health issues and he wasn't happy. I mean, I can see that, there's been certain goals that I've hit, like even, and I was like, well, it's not what I thought it would be. It didn't like equal what I wanted it to be. And really what I value is in relation to what both of you were kind of saying is like health and helping other people. I really have like a goal to do that instead of becoming, a millionaire or like some super successful entrepreneur. I just want to like do something meaningful that like I care about and that's helpful to other people. But first and foremost, just get healthy and, have some kind of dating life. Just pretty common things like that.
But what is holding you back the most in your life right now? Truthfully, like what's the one bottleneck you're like, dude, if this changed, my life would be
Yeah.
50 to 70% better.
I would say the health aspect of things, you know.
Okay. That
Yeah.
would be my main focus.
Yeah. So
And I
that,
would
go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say that is what I've been putting all my time into, but I've been taking it really easy. Like me, I don't want to make it an excuse, like, oh, like that's why I'm not pursuing, like business or like a sales career or or like a more of a dating life. Like I'll make it my excuse of why I'm not going out of my way to talk to girls because I'm like, well, I'm not, where I want to be, and I have friends that are like that too. So I just don't want to make that like an excuse, I guess, like being stuck,
May I
I'm
interject
curious.
for a moment, or do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want to
absolutely.
take the floor?
No, Sean, you
This is
interject.
someone.
My headphones are on. I have to use the restroom really bad.
All right, no worries, no worries. So I'll just say this: just taking off like the coaching hat, just putting on like just personal hat, homie hat on.
Hmm.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Marshall. Because I know you're also dealing with stomach issues too. Not the exact ones. Yours is more upper, right? Like,
Yeah,
or
yeah, a little bit, yeah.
mine's
It's a
more in the
lot.
lower, like in the
Yeah.
intestines. But still, like being bloated fucking sucks. I think we can all agree on that, whether you have stomach issues or not.
Hmm.
It makes you feel. Now I'm projecting, just saying how I think, what my unconscious thoughts are when I was bloated. Makes you feel
Right.
unattractive, makes you feel low energy,
Hmm.
makes you feel tired, fatigued, all these things.
Especially low energy, yeah.
Yes,
Hmm. And
yes,
mood.
exactly. Your mood, exactly. All of it
Hmm.
plays in. There's the gut brain connection.
Hmm.
So, what I would suggest for anyone listening with some sort of chronic illness, it's 100% worth prioritizing figuring out the root causes and working on that. Like now I feel like so much better, but I'm not 100%. There's still certain things that I got to do on a day-to-day basis. For example, I still got to take 2 hours in the morning for myself and 2 hours after lunch for myself.
Hmm.
Now, is that optimal if we're talking to like a high level CEO? Fuck no, it's not optimal. But at least I'm managing the symptoms and working at my own pace. And I'm proud of that. And all the other time blocks that I have in between, I go to the gym still, I still walk my dog, and I still allow myself time away from my business to go out and meet girls and network, especially because I just moved again. I'm not in Arizona anymore. I'm in New Hampshire now, and that it's not exactly my hometown. It's like an hour away from my hometown and all the cities that my friends are at. So I still am by myself in some ways. And I need to be like, okay, well, this is also important to me. So I go out there and I go meet girls. If I got to make sure I take, and I'm going to get a little gross for the podcast here, if I got to make sure I got to take 2 fucking dumps earlier in the day in order for me to like have enough energy to feel confident when I approach women, then that's what I'll do. And if I'm fucking constipated that day and I'm all backed up, again, I don't want to get all grossy with you guys, but I'm just giving you guys the raw thoughts that go in my head. Then I just stay in and watch a movie, or I stay in and write some more tweets, or I do some journaling, or I just relax for a bit, you know? Because I don't allow the health issue to fully get in the way of what I got to do. Now, it might take time away from maybe the speed that my mind is telling me it wants to move at. But again, it comes back to, is that speed truly mine, or was that speed something projected onto me at a young age or from social media? Is it just a story that I have fell into the trap of believing on what it means to be successful? You know? So for you, Marshall, it's like, I know you said you're taking some supplements right now. Last time we spoke about your health, right? And they've been helping, you said?
Yeah, yeah, it's been helping, but I'm sure you can understand, there's a lot of ups and downs with this process, like
Oh, absolutely. It takes a
and
lot
I
of
have other
patience.
conditions going on too. So it's just kind of like getting in the way. I'm like, wow, like I wish I could, just get this over with so I can actually start getting ahead. Cause I feel like, dang, like I'm almost 30 and it's like I wasted a lot of years partying and didn't really get the results I wanted to get with, whether it was career or building skills or dating, I just feel kind of like, dang, damn, I'm stuck,
Why do you think you
So.
wasted years?
Well, it's not a complete waste, but just on some level it was because, I was just stuck in that loop, that trap of
Was it
drinking. And
fun?
at some times, but I stayed in it way too long. And then it led to these health issues, and now I'm like paying the price of like,
Mhm.
and it's just like kept me like stuck in the mud, I guess is the best way to put it, where I like couldn't really access my potential with like any of that stuff that I really know I can do. So,
I see it differently, and what I'll share with you is
mhm,
this: is
sure.
for you, Marshall, nobody else, you. This is
Right.
what you needed to
Mhm.
wake the fuck up, get
Exactly.
your shit together,
Mhm.
heal your body. And there's going to come a time into your 30s, maybe into your 40s, you'll look back and go, I would have never been this fucking dope if I didn't go through that, because of the way I was built. Just like I had to keep repeating lesson after lesson after lesson into my 40s and get knocked down to finally go, oh. And what you realize is like, this is just who we are as humans. That's the lesson you needed. And then the other part is to give yourself some grace is once you learn that lesson and you go out and operate in the world that way,
Mhm.
you're done with it. Like it's over. And so you
Yeah.
learn to really experience the lessons quicker and pay attention. Quicker,
Mhm.
pay attention. Quicker, pay attention.
Right.
And bro, I'm sorry, but you guys are so fucking young. 30 is a fucking kid, and I mean that respectfully.
I'm
Like
29
you're
at the
just
moment. Yeah.
you're watching guys online that are like 0.00001% of the world, and then
Mhm.
80% of those motherfuckers are lying, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my point is like we're living in this world where you're just seeing all these guys that are 16 to 26. Like that, first of all, it's not normal. It's never happened before. Second of all, I can promise you they're not enjoying their lives. And they're looking. I have a buddy of mine who's literally, when he turned 40, he was at a point where his business was producing a solid 100 million a year. He never needed to work again. And he looks back and he's like, he was mad at his wife, dude, because she like partied and did all these things in her 20s and 30s and he didn't get a chance to do it. And he's literally like, fuck, I didn't get a chance to do any of that. And now I have another kid and I got a wife and I've got all this stuff. And he goes, and I want to do it, but I'm this older guy now. And you're just like, and you realize like there's seasons, bro. Like you did what you said. Sure, maybe you overstayed a couple of years. Say you should have slowed down at 25, 26, and you didn't.
Mhm.
Bro, fucking take it easy on yourself. Be unreasonable about the amount of forgiveness you give yourself. You've got so much
Right.
time. If everything pans out by the time you're 35, who fucking cares?
Mhm.
Seriously, like who cares? It doesn't even matter. It's like being a millionaire. You only have to get rich once. You can have 1,000 failed businesses. One hits, the rest doesn't even matter. So, dude, I'm
Mhm.
telling you, half of your problem, just like half of Sean's problems, and I shows is you guys are too fucking hard on yourself. Like, bro, it's one thing I'm very lucky. I'm like, yeah, I did that, whatever. I don't beat myself as much in that area as a lot of people do. And honestly, I had a lot of fucking fun. I love the party, but
Mhm.
it just didn't serve me anymore. So
Yeah.
just, I would say if I could give you any wisdom is just to chill out and realize that like this is the future, bro. 29 and back doesn't fucking matter. It's dead. You are literally don't exist anymore. This
Right.
new Marshall, that's all that matters. Forget the fucking past. Heal your stomach, heal your body, start making some money and get yourself out there. And bro, you can date because women don't date for money. They date on the potential to earn. And if you get a girl now when you're all fucked up and she's by your side, that's a girl you want to keep, let me tell you.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
So,
You do not want
Yeah.
to you do not want to be on the quote unquote finish line and meet your wife.
fuck
You
no,
want to
dude.
you want to meet her while you are
Track the wrong
building.
one. Yeah.
Yes. You want to meet her while you are building because she's going to know the parts of you that you judge that she probably doesn't even judge at all. And she'll make you
Mhm.
love those sides of yourself.
And she'll
Right.
help you get out of that. She'll lift you up if she's the right girl. If she's the wrong girl, she'll kill you. But you know what I'm saying?
Kill you in your sleep. Yeah.
And you'll have
Yeah.
to build
Wait.
her too. If you're pre-built and she's not, you'll have some troubles with that. I mean, lots of people with that sort of trouble.
Yeah.
Bro, that's been my trouble. You build yourself up, and I like to date younger girls like most men do, and you're just at completely different levels,
Yeah.
you know? And it's really cool to have somebody go on that journey with you. So,
Yeah. So yeah, that's why a part of me is kind of looking at it like this is the beginning because now I'm sober for a couple
totally.
years. I'm sober for a couple years. I do kickboxing, jiu-jitsu myself, and for like 6 years now. And I use that as like a way to get sober and just to get on the right track, like mentally, physically, everything, spiritually. And like, so that's why, that does give me hope at the same time. And I do like wake up sometimes and realize like what you said, like, wow, I'm so fucking blessed. Like I have everything in front of me. But that's what kills me the most is like when I can't like access that like that gratitude or that potential for like myself and just for life in general. And to be like, in good spirits and to be the good to other people. It's like that being weighed down by like that mood and that energy problem. It's like, dang, like this feeling stuck. So I'm just trying to break out of that, but I'm sure I will And then
You will, bro.
yeah.
I'll just give you the least coachy advice ever. Get out of your fucking head, bro. Go live
Yeah.
your life. Hit some fucking pads. Go do
Mhm.
some jujitsu. Heal
Mhm.
that stomach issue and realize like it's coming. Because
Mhm.
your main issue right now, from what I'm absorbing, and I'm very intuitive, Marshall,
Mhm.
is you're beating yourself up about stuff that doesn't even fucking exist anymore. That's out of your control.
Right.
Just
It's
think
like dwelling on
future.
past mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, from today, right now, today, fucking March, what is it, 20th? Nothing else exists. This March 20th, my life started. Go. Like
Mhm.
everything else is whatever. That's
Yeah.
one thing I don't like about AA is like, I'm an alcoholic. No, you're fucking not anymore. I know you have that tendency. So do I, but you're not. All that shit is dead. Let that person literally fucking die, bro. Let
Mhm.
them die. This new Marshall is like creating a new character,
Yeah.
right? That's the rest is don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Stop beating
Well,
yourself up, man.
yeah, well said. And like I know that, but it helps hearing it from somebody else because when you're going through this journey by
Totally,
yourself all the
dude.
time, it's like that's why you mentioned like the brotherhood, the community, because it's like that is very key. Because if you're going through this by yourself, you're gonna start to think of the opposite. You know, you're gonna start to
100%.
even if it seems obvious what you just said, it's like you're gonna start beating yourself up. I think naturally, you know. So,
Every
100%.
moment,
mhm.
every moment is a clean slate. I
Mhm.
always got to remind myself that. You have the option to do a system operating reboot every
Mhm.
second of the day if you want to.
Right.
Every second.
Dang, that's huge.
The
Yeah.
past is only a thought. You can't touch it. You can't taste it. You can't feel it. I guess you
Mhm.
could feel it if you think about it, but that's it. It's a thought, though. That's all it is.
Dude, and on top of
Exactly.
that, like, what the fuck are you tripping on? You party a little bit in your 20s and drink? Like, welcome to fucking being a kid, bro. Enjoy your life.
Yeah.
You got a little fucked up from it. Damn, you learned early, and now you're gonna fix that problem. If
Mhm.
you're doing jujitsu and Muay Thai, bro,
Kickboxing.
your
Yeah.
body's probably pretty healthy, more than you think. And most of it's probably in your mind. I'm sure you got some things I'm saying, and I don't mean like I'm not saying you're a hypochondriac. I'm saying you're making it out
Probably
to be
right.
bigger than it is. And it'll come.
Yeah.
Give yourself 5 years. Give yourself 1 year. See what the end of 26 looks like, bro.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And,
Very
and
true.
just stop putting all those constraints on yourself. That sucks.
Yeah.
Fucking miserable. You're on your own fucking neck, dude.
Wow. And just the amount of time that and like years I spent in that illusion. Because if you're saying that like that's not the right way to be thinking, and so I spent a lot of time thinking that way. You know.
Let me ask
So
you a question.
yeah,
How's it serving you?
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
You know the
Yeah.
answer, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like trying
And
to
again,
snap out
and
of it. I
don't beat
wonder.
yourself up about that.
Mhm. Right.
Yes. Yeah. I can relate to that piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Oh, I think
we
we
all
froze
have
for
our
a
own,
second.
we all have our own pace. And
Yeah.
honestly, like Marshall, since like I'm the only one here who's had a very similar health issue as you,
Hmm.
trust me when I say this, own your own pace of your body. And a lot of people think owning your own pace means avoidance of leading into doing things. No, that's not what it means. It just means doing it at your own pace. You know, that's
And dude,
all it
he
means.
froze. I want to share this. Don't beat yourself up about beating yourself up.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's another trap you could fall into, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
and the reality is, dude, none of this is gonna be the most interesting advice, but I'm telling you, none of this matters, dude. I know this sounds terrible, and I don't mean to be dark, but we're all gonna die. No one's gonna remember who fucking Andrew Tate is 50 years from now. I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah.
Let
I,
alone
I
us.
personally don't subscribe to his stuff, but yeah, I know what you
Well,
mean.
but
Yeah.
just an
Anybody.
example, right? He's
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah.
Alex Hormozy, President Trump. Like, what
Yeah.
fucking presidents do we remember? Like two? You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
I three. You know, so
Yeah.
Most of the
the
bad
reality is like,
ones.
dude, most of the bad
It's
ones.
it's kind of like the idea of like nothing matters, but everything matters at the same time, you know? It's like,
100%. But there
yeah.
was a guy on a podcast. He was a former CIA guy, and it's not the guy with the long curly hair. He said, "Be unreasonably forgiving of yourself."
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, like I mean, to the point where like I killed somebody in a DUI accident. Be that unreasonably forgiving, because the reality is, if you wear that for the rest of your life, bro, I got homies that fucking were locked up for 20 years for murdering a lot of people, not just one. If they carried that on to the next phase of their life, their whole life would be over.
Yeah.
Sure, my point is that's way heavier than what you were probably dealing with.
Mhm.
And the reality is to just give yourself grace and bring your best into this world. You know,
Mhm.
like people don't realize what people actually go through. Like, do you guys know who's the guy, the Mexican actor with the long hair that played in Machete? He's like older as fuck. He's like,
Danny
what's his name?
Trejo.
Danny
And
Trejo.
HBO. Yeah.
So Danny Trejo gives back a lot. Because he had a major heroin addiction, all these things. He was a legit part of the Mexican mafia, La M. Shot caller. His cousin's the biggest shot caller in Folsom Prison, was a boxer. He was 10 years. He was the boxer in either San Quentin or Folsom, the champion in prison. And he will tell you, like, dude, you've got to let all that stuff go. And so the way he lets it go is he just gives back to society all the time. But the shit that motherfucker did to be locked up, the shit he had to do in the penitentiary, shit he had to do to get into the penitentiary, the people he harmed, you got to let it go, bro. You got to forgive yourself. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of like you mentioned, like before the collapse, like the collapse of your situation will kind of lead you into knowing what matters. I think it matured me a lot because like at the end of my party phase, you know, I'll tell you just like it's a little intense, but it's just true. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. The story is that like when I got to a point where I transitioned from like just smoking to vaping. I had vaped so much I like clogged my lungs up and I was like suffocating in my sleep for a month, like I was getting waterboarded. So like it was intense, and like even as bad as that was, it let me realize that, you know, like I got to give all this shit up. I got to go on to like a different path, and it was a blessing in disguise, is what I'm trying to say, because
What a fucking blessing, dude.
yeah, because it just like it matured me in a way where it just made me realize what's important. Like, why am I living like this, chasing, like trying to chase girls or partying and chasing the next high? It's like that's the opposite of what you really should be doing if you're trying to create a better situation for yourself, you know? So that's
I
all.
mean, Marshall,
Mhm.
that's all. No big deal. I was just waterboarding myself every night. No, but like at the
Yeah.
end of the day, listen, you guys can take what you want with this, but you've already heard it before. The universe is either working against you or it's working for you. The life is either happening to me or happening for me. When you make that shift, everything changes. And here's the reality: nothing fucking changed but this. There's a book called The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. And that's the biggest thing he talks about, is that shift from happening to me to happening for me. Bro, in my opinion, what happened to you, all the drama, all the problems, your stomach, all this
Yeah.
was happening for you. Because
Mhm.
now because if that didn't happen, you would have stayed down the path, probably fucking killed yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it happened in your 20s, bro.
Mhm.
I know motherfuckers that are still addicted to heroin and they're in their 40s and 50s.
Right.
So the reality is everything happened for you. So just keep going down that path, stop beating yourself up. And then every time something comes up that's a challenge, go, what is this trying to teach me? My biggest one now is I start to see myself in every person. I'm like, oh, fuck, I do that. Oh, I do that. Oh, but so instead of getting mad at them, I see me and I'm like, damn, look at all this shit that I do. Wow, thank you for showing me myself and all the fucked up shit that I do that I don't like in you, that I want to change in me. So,
Mhm.
dude, but if
Yeah,
I can get anybody,
absolutely.
any wisdom on this call, bro, just love yourselves. Give yourself some big fucking hugs.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
seriously, like, I'm not
Yeah.
joking. Like, all of the work, Sean knows this, comes back to self love. That's it.
Mhm.
There's nothing
Yep.
else. All of this work, entrepreneurship, spiritual, it all just comes back to just loving yourself.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly. And you know, negatives can turn to positive. They're kind of two sides of the same coin, like Sean was saying too. Like you can't have one
totally.
without the other, and you just kind of got to sit back and endure whatever it is, you know, until you can
The
get to the other side.
dichotomy of everything, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
that's
all
what
working
I've
for you.
realized that on my own, just through my own process, you know, or journey, you know. So
Then be proud of yourself. Look
yeah,
in that
I
mirror every day
appreciate
and be like,
that.
I'm
Thank
fucking
you.
proud of you, bro. Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, I would give you a big fucking hug right now and then I'd go fucking, run it out on the mats. Like,
Right. Right.
and then don't forget the brotherhood you have there, bro. Because on the mats, when you sweat and bleed together, it really creates connection.
It does, yeah. And it was very helpful for me to just kind of like have that outlet, you know, and I'm not there all
Where
the
are you
time,
living?
but what was that?
Where do you live?
Rochester, New York. So like kind of
Oh,
near
you're way
Buffalo.
up north. Yep.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I used to live in North Tonawanda for a little bit. It's a
Oh,
long
in
story.
Buffalo? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
got
dude,
my
yeah,
cousins in Buffalo.
Nice. There's
Yeah.
jujitsu gyms everywhere, man, and it's like family.
Mhm.
So fucking use it,
Yeah, Absolutely, yeah. It's been a huge game changer for me. And also, just for anybody, I think Eric had mentioned combat sports is that it really helped me be able to set boundaries, just in other areas of life because like you're more confident and not trying to hurt anybody, but you just know that you can handle yourself, with any situation. So, in the past, maybe I didn't set boundaries because I didn't, I couldn't stand up for myself or something. So it's huge for guys, I think, in general. I'm pretty
Oh yeah.
passionate about that,
Right.
And just do the work. Eric could say, well, what do I do? Just get on the fucking mat and do the work. The mat is
Mhm.
like the greatest equalizer of life. And,
Mhm.
guys, it's like 5 minutes to 12 Central. Joe, did you have one more question?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Pass it on.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
one question. It's kind of been answered a little bit by everyone, but I'll just paraphrase it real quick. Basically, so I've really been trying to focus on quarterly based goals. That way I'm looking at the bigger picture, like you said, like look at a timeline. However, I've been finding the imbalance of that being that whenever I'm not like doing moving the needle daily, I'm overly or I hyperfixate on the one Jenga piece that can crumble it all. Or like, if I'm not moving the needle daily, well now I'm like gonna be short on my goal or, you know, I won't reach my goal in the time or whatever the projected um time that I was going after. A quick example of this is like um, we're all talking about 30, 30, 30. I'm 27, and so in my mind, I'm kind of like telling myself I'm 30 years old, even though I'm 27. But that way, I'm not looking at myself when I'm 30 and being like, oh, well, I could have done this when I was 27, or whatever the case may be.
So just to slow you down there, what is the actual question?
Yeah, basically, just like how do you not hyperfixate, or how do you keep the balance of I have my goals. I want to move the needle daily, but if I don't move it daily, I'm not looking at like the cognitive dissonance of like, oh, well, now my goal is crumbling or whatever, whatever you
So,
want to
so
say.
it's a twofold question. So question number one, or the emotional spiritual side of it is, again, you have to give yourself grace and love. Like seriously, like you have to be gentle with yourself. If you don't learn to control that fucking critic in your brain, it is going to destroy you. How do you do that? Meditation, mirror work, gentle with yourself, calm, loving. From a metrics perspective, bro, if you're not hitting your goals daily that are going to meet your quarterly goal, which is going to meet your yearly goal, then you need to problem solve. That's it. And the question is, if you're problem solving, but it's not there yet, but you are doing the work, Joe, then you need
Hmm.
to be gentle. If you're not, then you need to get a little tougher and be like, I need to do this. But if you are problem solving that and you're trying to hit that metric, because bro, you think that that's not going to last forever. You don't think dudes that are big in the game that they don't miss their metrics every day all the time and have to change and shit. So if you can't go into it every day without beating the shit out of yourself, bro, you are crumbling yourself. So solve the problem or decide it can't be solved and pivot. And in the meantime, as long as you're putting that work in, be kind to yourself. That's all you can do. It is out of your hands. Like if you're actually putting in the work to solve that metric and you're testing something, say for a month, I'm going to test this new SDR. Cool. You're going to beat yourself up every day if it doesn't hit. You're going to destroy your capacity to grow. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay. So just, dude, honestly, the answer is be kind and gentle, and at the same time, take action and solve. That's it. Listen, I got to go, but I will tell you guys this. Stop thinking so much. Like, and you're talking to the biggest overthinker I've ever met. I learned stop thinking so much. This is what I need to do. This is the plan. This is what I'm going to do. Okay, let's see what that looks like for a month. Shut it the fuck off. That's it. And then do it again. You know, because you can think your way out of something good. You can think your way into terrible situations. Your brain is a thinking machine. Once it sets, that's it. Imagine if you're in an elevator, dude, and that thing was overthinking, you're like up, down, up, down, up, down. You'd be like, think about that. I have to go to floor two. Okay, go to floor two. Yeah, but what if I stopped at floor one? And what if I went, bro? Just go do the thing. I know it's not the best advice, but I think you understand it. So
of course. Thank you.
you're welcome. Guys, I'm on social. Text me, DM me. Roy did it. I immediately responded to him. Like, whatever you guys need, let me know. Marshall, you fucking got this. Eric, get your ass in some combat sports. Fox, it's gonna take some fucking time, bro. There's not the best people in the world. They are. Charlie Munger said people are rat poison. I don't go that far, but he's a pretty big billionaire before he passed, and it is tough to find good talent. So,
Thank you, Mark.
yep, my pleasure, you guys. I appreciate
Mark,
all of you.
thank you so much for being on the show, Mark. Really appreciate you, brother. Thank you
This
so
was
much.
awesome. Thank you much, guys. I appreciate you, man.
Mhm.
Ciao, everybody.
All right,
Thank you.
much love, everybody. Peace out.
Peace.
Have a good day. Bye bye.
Later, y'all.